Good morning and welcome to the midweek edition of Joy News Interactive. I am Mapitso Sibidi. Remember, we are live on DSTV channel 41 and GoTV channel 144. On Facebook and Twitter, we are Joy News on TV. So get your gadgets ready, tweet, comments, and I will read what you're thinking. To our first story, so we're going to Zimbabwe, where Robert Mugabe said, "Only God who appointed me will remove me, not the MDC, not the British, only God will remove me." He said this in 2008 at an election rally. And 9 years down the line, he's gone. Finally, what some people think they'll never see while alive has happened. Robert Gabriel Mugabe, after 37 years of leading the people of Zimbabwe, has relinquished power. Let's see what happened last night on the streets of Harare.
Our Margaret Evans has been on the ground taking all this in, bringing us the news for days now, and she joins us once again with the latest from Harare. Margaret, how are people reacting to this news?
Well, John, I've just stepped right out into the street, so maybe you can hear behind me. We were actually inside downtown doing an interview with the opposition leader, Morgan Tsvangirai, and we stepped outside just as the news broke, and the entire city is going mad. People are running out of their offices, out of shops. Big groups of people are running down the street. Their flags are starting to come out. People are honking. The sun is starting to go down, and so the whole city is sort of lit in this golden light, which is pretty symbolic, I guess, for the timing of this. I think all day long people have been standing outside of the parliament. I don't think anybody thought it was going to happen this quickly because Mugabe refused to resign before on Sunday. Everybody thought he was digging in for a long haul, a constitutional fight, because he would have had the right to answer that charge, that impeachment. But he's full of surprises, and that letter was sent. And as I said, this is a city going wild.
Margaret, you paint a dramatic picture. We're looking at video, in fact, live.
Now, if this is anything to go by, then Zimbabweans are really happy. So on Facebook, we asked you, did you ever think a day like this will come while you're alive? That Robert Mugabe will resign? Let's check out on Facebook what you guys are saying on Facebook. Isaac Yao says, "Today is a sad day for Africa. The imperialists have succeeded in ousting Mugabe. The saddest part is Africans joining to celebrate, but surely Africans will regret later, as in the case of Gaddafi." Nana Techi says, "Those pink noses instigated us and were killed Patrice Lulamba. They helped us to dethrone Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and plenty other people." And Eric says, Mugabe quotes, "A coward is someone who could not fight me at my youngest age, but trying at age 93. When Mugabe was busily posting quotes on Facebook, Grace was also busily seeking for his downfall, like Samson and Delilah. I think Africa will call him with a sad end, and I hope Togolese will also advise themselves through modern-day military coup." Let's see what William Campbell says. "Looking at the jubilant crowd, I was shocked Mugabe would have won next year's elections. I don't know how really these African dictators win elections. In Togo, you will see uncountable unity, protesters on the street, but should elections be held today, he will be pronounced winner. Fear African presidents." Let's take Charles Afria, who says, "One question in mind. Is the vice going to work with Mugabe's cabinet? Or what new ideas are they bringing on board? And is he going to scratch the back of the people who brings him back after he has been sacked?" Let's see what Abdul says. "Zimbabweans will remember Mugabe. I hope his retirement will pave way for youth to participate in leadership. Well done, Mr. Mugabe." And Bright Kuvwa says, "A new word that has added to the Oxford Dictionary is Mugabe, meaning that something that takes a lot of time to be removed." Laugh out loud. Michael Aming says, from the UK says, "Indeed, no one dreamt that a time may come that Robert Mugabe will be betrayed by his own people and people jubilate over his exit. everything under the surface of the earth shall pass away, written in the Holy Bible, and only the word of God shall stand forever. Like Mugabe says, only God will remove me, and God did just that. And TK says, I don't know what people here are saying, but the economy of the country was falling so rapidly for years, he had to go for new policies to come to play. Later on in the show, we'll also be checking out your tweets on Mugabe's resignation. Now let's come back home to Ghana, where it's become a common practice for presidents, members of parliament, and other political leaders to be made chiefs and queens of some traditional areas. What do you make of this? Should political leaders accept these roles? I mean, you know, NDC, NPP, can they do it? I'm not sure. So we'll be taking your Facebook comments shortly. Like I said before the break, I'll be bringing you more comments, and let's see. First comment for God Knows Billy says it is a cheap way of tricking the politicians to pay attention to the development of such particular town or village. Our chiefs have tried all that they could convince the politicians to come to their aid, but it doesn't seem to yield any positive results. And Baya Jeremiah says it should be stopped immediately because it is weakening our traditional authorities. Those things are just one-day event, and it has not any positive impact in the area of traditional roles. And Jerry Smith says it's a catastrophe. Traditional leaders are believed to be dignified, selfless people more interested in preserving the sanctity and heritage of old while pressing for development for their people. The politician has proved time and time again to be corrupt and can only be called to order by law or traditional leadership. Emmanuel Drafo says most of these politicians play a pivotal role in their community, being infrastructure, schools, and other development projects, hence decided to reward them in returns. Anointed CJ says, I suppose you're asking if politicians should accept honorary PhDs awarded them, institutions of higher learning. Those titles are just ceremonial and they don't count. Let's take some more comments. If you think political powers should be taken as queens and chiefs, Na Hayford says very bad. Every politician in one way or the other has stolen before. Until Jesus intervenes, they will end up stealing the lands of the community if installed as king or queen. Shai Mensa says they normally install them as development chiefs. This is done with the intention that they can aid the development of the area. Let's take some more comments with Judas Dimer, who says no, because the beginning of politics, traditional rulers were determined by the custodians of the land, but involvement of politics by chiefs now make political leaders to enskin chiefs. Let's take a comment from Kofi Korlabi, who says politicians accept honorary doctorate from academic institutions. Why should they refuse honors from traditional rulers? Now let's talk about the budget. Well, anytime this fiscal policy is read in Parliament, it is done in English. Many have complained about not being able to understand the jargons. So this is what the Finance Ministry has done. The ministry has translated the 2018 budget into 7 Ghanaian languages to enhance easy understanding by the ordinary Ghanaian. Some of the local languages are Nzima, Ashanti Tree, and Ewe. So what do you make of this? Let's check on Facebook what you said. Richard Hood says, do you know the difference between a language and a dialect? If you're in this country and you can't speak or read any of these languages, I don't think you would even have an interest in reading the budget. Kwesi says, the writers have done well by translating the budget into various languages in Ghana. They deserve A+ for this. This would go a long way to help all and sundry to understand the budget clear. Adam Smith says, it's a waste of taxpayers' money to do this. Majority of people who speak these languages are not literate. To further even compound the situation, the literate ones can't also read their own language. So these dynamics make the whole exercise completely useless. And Abu Lansani says, what a nice move. There are 7 official spoken languages in Ghana and all have been used. This is a historic move by the players. Thank you for taking this bold step. A comment from King Solomon says, oh, now I can even see that my country Ghana is transforming back to its old Gold Coast. True, this God-fearing father, that at the end of time, God has appointed him like Moses to rescue our homeland Ghana. More Vim Nana and his well-fit team. And let's take a comment from Bayer Jeremiah who says, fantastic development and superb move. Ordinary peoples will now be part of the governance processes, and it is good news for the minister. He got 3 replies, if we can see what those replies are. Daniel Ajay says, ordinary people can read tree and understand tree, but not English. Masa, this analysis, dear. And then Memphis Daniel says, if you talk of tree, then what about the other languages? And Nasif Kasim says, Memphis Daniel, okay, not only tree, all the other dialects included. I don't think anybody who can't read English can read any of our dialects. Remember, we are talking about reading and not listening. And moreover, no dialect in Ghana has its words not written in English letter words. If we can take 2 more comments. Emmanuel Joffa says, one thing I like about this government is that when they want to implement something, they always wanted to ring bell in people's minds so that when they implement it, the ordinary people can attest to it. The notable one are free senior high school. So that is all from the budget. Like I promised, I'm going to go back to Zimbabwe to read some of your tweets on Mugabe's resignation. But before that, we're going to take another quick breather. Hashtag Mugabe Resigns. Now let's see some of your tweets from at one go and says, I was a teacher in Zim, now I'm a waiter in SA. Hashtag Mugabe Resigns means we can go home and rebuild our country. Obey Manyoni in Yeovil. Let's take some more tweets. I mean, in my country, I was born and there was 3 different presidents. So, wow, Mugabe, world record. Let's take at Ohana69 and says, Harare tonight. We'll be as happy when we finally gather our courage as hashtag Zimbabwe did and tell Zuma to move. Hashtag Mugabe Resigns. And there's some jubilation happening in Harare. Everybody was happy. Well, most people were happy. And replying to him, it says lol at Sasha. Let's take at KK_Simbarashe and says, oh, how the mighty fall. I remember the day she said this, dragging her accent all over the place. Lady Gaga, you're officially out of order. Hashtag Mugabe Resigns. Hashtag Zimbabwe. And that is who we call Gucci Grace. Another tweet from Major General Ku and at MGQ says, after Mugabe resigned, this is the mood in the country. Hashtag Mugabe Resigns. Hashtag Zimbabwe. As you can see, they are dancing and rejoicing and having the time of their lives. Oh,